Hello and welcome to Delicious and Nutritious. My name is Chef Jerry Levine, and I'm joined with Marcia Richards, registered dietitian from Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital, Plymouth. A special thanks goes out to local scene media, uh, and they are our mechanical sponsor, and they're in the Center for Active Living for helping us bring this show to all of you. So now I'm going to turn this over to Marcia briefly, and then we'll go to our video. It's really delicious this day.
Yes, delicious and nutritious. So welcome everybody. My name is Marcia Richards. I am a registered dietitian with Beth Israel Deaconess Hospital in Plymouth. So Jerry's got an awesome recipe to share with us. It's a potato artichoke egg frittata. And I love this recipe. It's a meal. It can be breakfast, it can be lunch, it can be supper. It can be leftovers, so it's super versatile. So let's watch and see how easy it is to make this delicious and nutritious recipe.
What's all this here?
Okay, today we're going to do a potato artichoke frittata. What is a frittata? A frittata is an Italian omelet, and it is delicious, and it's relatively simple, and it's got some great flavorful things in there. I've got my eggs, I got a tiny bit of milk here, a little bit of olive oil, some potatoes, which I will drain just before we start cooking, onions, artichoke, fennel, anise flavor, dynamite. Okay. We've also got chives and my favorite cheese, Pecorino Romano. Okay, the first thing that we're going to do
is I'm going to get out of your way and let you go to work.
Well, I would appreciate that.
Okay.
That is very nice of you, Tom. Thank you for stopping by, and I will have a little dish of something for you to eat later.
Sounds great.
Okay, I need to turn on the stove. And we are going to start as soon as I drain the potatoes right here. Okay. The potatoes are now going into the saute pan. By the way, this is what I call a 10-inch saute pan. And it is a non-stick saute pan, but if you'll notice the handle, it's all metal. And the reason for the metal is because it's going to go into the oven. I would be careful, though, that when you're working with this, is to use some kind of a glove or a pad, because otherwise you could end up burning yourself. So we are going to take and cook our potatoes for just a bit. Okay, now that we have sauteed our potatoes, and you notice there's a little bit of color on them, not a huge amount, because I didn't want to overcook them. I wanted them just slightly soft. Now, I'm going to put in some onions, and oh, by the way, it did take about 10 minutes at a medium temperature to do the sauteing of the potatoes. And now we're going to do, for about 5 minutes, some onions. And we're just going to get them nice and soft, not cook them. They don't have to have a huge amount of color. Done. Okay, we've done our 5 minutes of sauteing our onions, and they're slightly soft, but you notice there's not an awful lot of color on them. So that is where we are. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take our pan off the heat, and we are going to take our eggs, and we're going to add our quarter cup of milk to it. And we're going to actually use a larger bowl because I don't want to splash these things all over the place. So. There we go. And that is there. And artichoke, nicely diced. Fennel, nicely diced. Chives, and again, nicely diced. And our pecorino romano cheese. Oh, the smell of this stuff just drives me berserk. I love it. And that's in there. And we mix. Now, what we're going to do is once I feel that it's mixed nice and uniformly, I'm going to take this and put it into our saute pan with our potatoes that have been sauteed and our onions that have been sauteed and a little bit of olive oil that went in there also. Okay, we are just about ready for that. And I want you to watch what I'm going to do because I want to try to level it off so it comes out in a nice flat way. Okay, so first thing we do is kind of loosen up everything here. And we really shouldn't have to do too much loosening. All right, there we go. And the egg mixture is going to go in, and you can just pour the whole mixture right in there. And get it in there. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of mix it all around because we want the eggs to get down in the bottom where the potatoes are. So the potatoes are going to have some eggs underneath them as we are cooking. So we're going to kind of flip and mix and do a little flipping and mixing and another flip and a mix. And what I want you to do is take a good look at this and look at the colors we've got here. We've got the yellow from the eggs. We've got the whiteness of the potato, the greenness, and we also have some of the other two colors, which is the fennel. But the fennel is going to give us a really nice smell to it. And how many people use fennel? I love fennel because it's got a nice little anise flavor to it. So we're going to do this right now. And notice how flat I've made this. And that is really important to me. So we're going to take it and we're going to turn around and face our oven. And the oven is at 350 degrees. And we're middle shelving it. And you're saying 350, that's not a very high temperature. No, it's not. But we're going to cook it at a fairly long period of time. It's going to be cooking for 15 minutes. The reason being is I don't want the eggs to get rubbery. I want them to be firm but not rubbery. So I'm cooking them at a very high temperature. Okay. How long does it go in there at 350? It goes in there for approximately 15 minutes. So you need to be watching this because you don't want to overcook it. And then, of course, you don't want to undercook it. Now, how do you know when it's actually done? Well, you can take a wooden spoon, if you'd like, and press on the top a bit after 15 minutes. And if it's nice and firm and there's no runningness to the top of it, it's done. So you can also use a thermometer. The thermometer, maybe 160 degrees. But it's really, you really don't need to use a thermometer. The press method works extremely well because if the egg is not cooked, it's going to be runny. If it's cooked, then it's nice and firm. But you overcook it and it is too firm. All right, let's wait and finish our cooking. Okay, we have our frittata. Look at that. It's a thing of beauty. But look at the colors. Notice the slight coloration on the potato here, and the green on the chives. And then over here, I see a little piece of artichoke, and look at the eggs, the nice yellowness on the eggs. And as I said, it's nice and firm. So it hasn't been undercooked. And if I did it right, it hasn't been overcooked. That's a good thing. So, frittata, Fritta, Italian. This is dynamite. So let's cut my producer a slice. So I get my slicer here, and I will actually.
This looks great.
Well, Tom, I appreciate you saying that, but you say that about everything that I make.
Well, you make everything great. What can I say?
Well, I'm glad you think that way. There we go. And look at that. Isn't that a thing of beauty? And did you see a little piece of cheese pull
Yep.
away?
Yep. Oh, man.
Okay.
That looks awesome.
Producer Tom, tell me what you think.
This is delicious.
And also, it's nutritious. So that's what we have here, delicious and nutritious.
And to me, it's easier than making the American omelet.
Actually, it is not difficult to make. All you really need to do is you saute some of your vegetables, and it doesn't have to be potatoes. It can be anything you want. And then you mix your egg mixture, and you can put in whatever you feel like putting in with your egg mixture. Usually I like a little salt and pepper, but I haven't put in any hot sauce. But Tom, if you really want to try something, put a little bit of red hot sauce on it, and it just pulls out the flavor. It's great.
I would imagine it would be. This is great. If you're interested in this, follow us on YouTube. And third Friday of every month, we do a Zoom show. Join us. Get the recipe. Everybody gets a recipe. And it's not hard to cook. You're going to love it. Ciao for now.
Take care. Delicious and nutritious. Bye now.
So, Jerry, I'm curious. I always keep canned potatoes in my cabinet for just in case, like if I make a soup. Would canned potatoes work well in that recipe?
Okay. The problem with canned tomatoes, it depends upon how long the potatoes were cooked in the can. Because I really like to have a little bit of crunch or firmness to my potato.
Okay.
I don't want it to taste like a rock, but I don't want it soft and mushy.
Okay.
So that I think you need to determine that. And if the can, you know something, I did slices, but you can use dices. You can use different chop sizes. So creativity. Just try something. If it doesn't work, then you won't ever do it again.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. So a little bit about the nutrient content of this. It's about 400 calories. low in sodium. It has 2 grams of fiber, no added sugar, and about 25 grams of protein. So a serving would provide you with about what most people should have at a meal. The other thing I wanted to comment on is that it's a great source of vitamin D for our bones and teeth. It is a great source of calcium, also for our bones and teeth. And calcium is really good for your heart, too. We always think about calcium for the bones. But calcium is used by our nervous system to help with muscle contractions and other various nervous system activities. It is a good source of iron, and it's also a great source of potassium, which is also good for our heart and keeping fluid balanced. So it's got it all. It's got it all. It's got our major food groups. It has vegetables, the chive, the artichoke, the fennel. It has protein with the egg. It has a calcium or dairy with the cheese and the milk. Did I forget anything? Oh, the potatoes too. The potatoes are also a vegetable. So we're getting like 3 or 4 vegetables in this one meal, which I love to see, and also pretty affordable meal to make.
And there's a couple of additional things, such as it's versatile in serving. First off, it's delicious coming right out of the oven. Secondly, it's also very good when it comes right out of the refrigerator, or Italians would call it the isoboxa. But the point is that it can be served either warm or cold, and in many cases, this is taken out by the farmers into the field. And but I would be somewhat careful about that, because you do have some things in there that that you don't want to have excessive temperature getting heated up and so forth. But it's very versatile, easy to do, completely straightforward, and you saw the look on my producer's face, Tom.
Yeah.
And that was, oh, this is delicious.
Yeah. I have a question.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Would it be just as good if I used a cast iron skillet, or do you prefer a different kind of using a saute pan?
Okay, I can answer that really quickly. One of the reasons for using the non-stick is that it makes it easier to get the frittata out of the pan at the end of cooking. So, but cast iron will work as long as the cast iron is properly seasoned. And you need to season it with a little bit of oil and make sure and that'll prevent the sticking. But either one would work. I happen to like to use non-sticks, and I've been using them for years, and they are easy enough to use. And oh, there's one other thing, and that is that they're much lighter to work with than cast iron.
Good point.
Right.
Good point. I have a cast iron pan that I love, but lately I've had to use 2 hands.
Exactly.
Onto it. Yeah. And that creates more risk for an accident or any number of things that can happen. But it's a great point, Maddie, as far as what type of pan, if you don't have a nonstick pan. Or even I have some pans that I'm worried about the handles, but I guess at 350, it's not as much of a problem.
350 is generally not that much of a problem, but I tend to, when I'm using a pan in the oven, I usually want to make sure that it is a metal handle. And of course, we did discuss the issue with a metal handle, is that it'll give you one heck of a burn if you're not careful.
Yeah, wear your gloves. Keep those oven mitts and pot holders handy.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's good. So June 3rd was National Egg Day, and there are a dozen reasons for choosing eggs. Would anybody like to state any of them? Think about any of them? So I've got 12 good reasons to eat an egg.
Well, one is that those hard-boiled eggs are certainly portable. You can bring them with you anywhere.
Perfect. Versatility. The egg is extraordinarily versatile. You can make it a head. You can do so many different things with it. Scrambled, fried, poached, baked, hard-boiled. Adding eggs to other recipes bumps up the protein. Good. How about another one? Jerry, you got any thoughts?
Well, it's also a really great ingredient because you can use it as a thickening agent. If you're doing a sauce, you can mix it with some butter and it'll act that you can make a really great sauce out of it, and that sauce can be put on fish and things of that type. The egg is extremely versatile, and I have to say, it is not overly expensive.
Exactly. Yeah.
So,
Economics. That was another of our dozen. Is it's economical.
well, exactly, and that's the reason I brought it up, because it is economically important, especially with the cost of eating nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. I know it. They're also high in nutrients. They have a high nutrient density is a third good reason to include eggs in your diet. And the protein is a high quality protein. And our body absorbs it and picks it up and uses it really well. So that high biological value. So we've got versatility, nutrient density, the protein is good quality, also economical. Anybody want to try to guess another one? How about the fat content? Jerry's always loves to talk about fat.
Okay. I'm sorry, Marcia. My phone just went off, and I just disconnected it. What was the question?
What the type of fat that is an egg is most of the good kind or the bad kind?
We are in the middle of filming a television show.
Oh, he's talking on the phone.
Okay.
So
I am at my condo. Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for the call. Bye. Marcia, go ahead.
okay, so we talked a lot about good fat and bad fat. Is the majority of the fat in an egg the good fat or the bad fat?
Was that a question to me?
Yeah,
Oh, it's a good fat,
you're absolutely right.
and it is, and it's there are a bit of fats in there, but that's all right. And the question is moderation, and I'm going to bounce the question back to our nutritionist. Is at one time we were told that you can't eat too much. You should eat minimal amount of eggs on a weekly basis because of the saturation and the lipids. So the question is, where are we now with that point?
So where we're at now, originally the only fat that we really understood early on when we were learning about fat and cardiac health was cholesterol. And
Right.
eggs do have a high level of cholesterol, but it's not the cholesterol in food that causes the issues. It's the saturated fat. And eggs actually do not have that much saturated fat. Most of the fat is the good kind, the unsaturated fat. So right now, eggs are okay. You don't need to limit them to 2 to 3 a week, which is what it was at one point. But moderation, they're good for us, but I don't think any of us needs to have a dozen a day. But 1 or 2 at a sitting, at a meal, as a snack, absolutely fine, and balanced against the other foods that you might eat. But they're a good quality protein. A good kind of fat. Another thing that we're learning more about is the egg yolk is a rich source of choline, and choline is being found to be necessary for normal brain tissue and memory development, and it also might play a role in preventing heart disease. So another good reason to have an egg. And for those of you that like to have more than 2 or 3 eggs at a sitting, you could always do, maybe 2 whole eggs and then maybe add egg white, which is just the protein without the fat. So if you wanted to create more, but limit that fat a little bit more, that's always an option. And I'm going to throw out one more, and then unfortunately we've got to say goodbye. Another thing that eggs have, which we're learning more about, are lutein and zeaxanthin. And these are 2 bionutrients that might help with age-related macular degeneration, which is a leading cause of eye issues in those of us over 65. And also less likelihood of cataracts in people that have these nutrients. So those are a few great reasons to have an egg. More and more chickens I'm noticing in my neighborhood, and I can buy all sorts of fresh eggs. But unfortunately, we've come to the end of our time. And as always, Jerry and I, we want to thank all of you for being here with us. The local scene for producing the show, Plymouth Center for Active Living for helping to organize it, and Beth Israel Deaconess Plymouth, where I'm from. But Jerry and I wish you a happy and healthy day, and we hope you enjoy this recipe.